Good day and welcome to the CCL Products Q4 FY20 earnings conference call hosted by Antique Stock Broking. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star and 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Manish Mahawar of Antique Stock Broking. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Aisha. On behalf of Antique Stock Broking, I would like to welcome all the participants on the call. From the management, we have Mr. Challa Srishant, Managing Director, Mr. KVL Sharma, CEO, Mr. Praveen Jaipuriar, CEO of Continental Coffee Private Limited, Mr. V. Lakshmi Narayana, CFO, Mr. P.S. Rao, Consultant Company Secretary, and Ms. Sridevi Dasari, Company Secretary on the call. Now, I would like to hand over the call to Mr. Srishant for opening remarks. Over to you, Srishant.
Thank you for the introduction. The company has achieved a revenue of 1,143.65 crores for the year 2019-20 as compared to 1,084.75 crores for the last year, and the net profit is 165.94 crores for the year 2019-20 as compared to 154.89 crores of last year. The EBITDA is 290.39 crores and the profit before tax is rupees 225.31 crores for the full year 19-20. For the fourth quarter, the company has achieved a turnover of 267.46 crores. The EBITDA is 73.31 crores. Profit before tax is 57.67 crores. And the net profit is 42.2 crores for fourth quarter. We can go directly for the questions.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Himanshu from New Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, Srishant and team, and congrats on a good performance in the current environment. So if
sorry to interrupt. Himanshu, if you could speak a little louder, please. We are unable to hear you. No, your voice is cracking.
1 second.
If you could say something right now.
Is it better now?
Yes. You can go ahead.
Okay. So I just wanted to get some more color on the current quarter's performance in terms of how much would this be contributed by higher realizations and maybe how much by volumes. And if you can give us some more color as to how much the new unit in our new capacity in Chittoor would have contributed to the current quarter performance.
Current quarter in the sense, last quarter of last year?
No, what I'm saying is, so this quarter, how much the Chittoor capacity would have contributed, and if you can give us a sense of the overall revenues which we have done, how much would have been contributed by higher volumes, or at least some rough sense, or if you can talk in terms of capacity utilization levels, where are we for the quarter?
Yeah, as indicated, last year the projected and achieved capacity utilization in Chittoor is around 50 to 53%, of which majority component has come from the third and fourth quarters. it was maintained. In fact, in both the quarters, almost similar operational levels were maintained. Of course, during the month of March, as we stated earlier also, the dispatches could not take place in the usual manner, and towards the end of the month, we were left with substantial stocks, which because of the non-availability of transportation facilities, etc., could not be made. Otherwise, the third quarter and fourth quarter were almost on the equal footing.
Okay. So can you give us some numbers, sir, in terms of how much on a company basis would we have lost because of the COVID impact?
It is not lost as per till last year at least, because the stocks were there. In fact, if you have seen the financials, there was an accretion to the stocks, which could not be dispatched because of, in fact, whole of March month, the dispatches were slow. We were not getting containers on time. And towards the end, last 10 days, it was almost standstill. So taking those figures, those accretion to stocks into account, then there was no major impact as far as last financial year is concerned.
Understood. And secondly, on the margins, we've seen a very sharp improvement in the margins. So if you can just...
Product composition.
Right. And yeah. Okay. And on the employee cost side, there is a significant jump. So any one-off is there, sir?
New unit has come into account operation, no? So SEZ employee cost, all that will get added, no? So you will see comparable increases in employee costs, the other expenses and all that, which are relatable to SEZ unit.
Okay. But because even on a sequential basis, if I see from last quarter, employee costs for the quarter are 23 crores versus 16 crores last quarter. So I was just wondering if there is any one-off expense which we have provisioned for there.
No, last quarter, normally our increments, etc., in Vietnam will be released during those state holidays. So that must have in release of additional increments and all that would have contributed to that.
Understood. And finally, any outlook, I mean, in the current environment, how do we see our dispatches and any outlook then that we can give for the current year that we can build in? It might be too early, but if you can give us any qualitative color as well on how do you see FY21 shaping up in terms of demand and dispatches?
Being in Bombay, I think you should advise us on how things would be for this year. We would take a guidance from you before giving a guidance to you.
At least if you can tell us on the current status, sir, of dispatches, have they restarted and to what extent?
This is too early to predict everything. Yes, we are not majorly impacted, but there will be an impact as we have seen on, we have declared on the exchange also that during the month of April there were production outages and all that. Currently we are confident that we would be able to retrieve most part of it, but at this point of time to give a clear guidance would be an adventure perhaps.
Understood, sir. And one very small final question on the India business, sir. If you can just share for FY20 as a whole, how much revenue and loss would we have done for the year?
The India business, we have clocked about 85 crores or so. 90. Some part of it is built in CCL parent company. So it gets added and about 90 crores we have done on that. And a small loss, perhaps around 3 crores, 3.5 crores loss was there in that. There was an impact on the retail side during the March month, and of course towards the last 10-15 days there was an impact. Otherwise it would have been slightly better than this. Perhaps with more congenial circumstances, they would have been at least closer to the break even this year. hopefully next year they will do that.
Understood, sir. All the best to the team. Yeah.
In the roadmap for that.
Understood, sir. All the best to you guys. Thanks a lot for answering.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nitesh Jain from Birla Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi, Srishant, and hi, everyone.
Yeah. Hi.
Mr. Srishant, basically, I have a couple of questions. I mean, the first one is, since we have now some time gone by in this crisis and the virus thing, globally there are some development. In India also, the lockdown has been practically lifted across the board. So the question I want to ask, what is the current state of operations? I mean, you mentioned in the remarks that there was some shortage of containers, then there was some logistic problem in March and April. So where are we today? Are these problems sorted out? And say suppose, say in January, before the virus, if we were at say 100 rupees of sales of the operations level, where are we? Are we at 90? Are we at 95 or 110? If you can provide some input here.
We are now back to our normal production at all our units.
Okay.
Vietnam, actually, there was no real impact because of COVID. It's only the India operations that were impacted in the initial days.
Mm-hmm.
And over the last month or so, we've come back to normal operations, and we're following all the necessary precautions, the social distancing and testing and everything at the factory level.
Okay. And I mean, this, as Mr. Sharma told in the beginning, in the earlier question, that this inventory which got built up at the March end, has this been cleared off when we got this logistics thing sorted?
Yes, it has been cleared.
Okay, fantastic. And lastly, basically, how is the impact of this, I mean, this human health crisis on the coffee demand? Have you witnessed any of the trends? I mean, has the coffee demand gone up because more people being at home, and when they used to go to office or outside, it was mainly fresh and ground, and when you are at home, mostly it is instant coffee. So has there been any, I mean, some more inquiries from the customers or less inquiry? How is it, the behavior basically I want to know?
Well, it's a kind of a mixed response because across the world, people consume instant coffee in both offices and institutions as well as in the house. Definitely the retail demand for coffee has gone up significantly, but even in offices, people do consume quite a bit of instant coffee or premixes. So that demand has come down. So overall net impact, I think there is an increase in coffee consumption because across the world, anyway, the coffee consumption is increasing year on year. So irrespective of COVID, I think that consumption is still going to increase this year as well.
Fantastic. And lastly, for the our new 5,000 ton unit, the FDC plant, because of this crisis, have you witnessed any cancellation of order from any of the client, or they are going as per the original plan?
Well, because of the crisis, some of the countries, people have been asking us to delay some shipments because there are certain markets which have been hit more badly, like how India initially went into a complete lockdown. You were not able to get manpower, the ports were closed more or less, and all these things were happening. Some of the countries where we are supplying to, they were in a similar position about a month ago, and they have requested us for some postponements. So we have obviously accepted their requests. So we are in a situation where for several customers we've again produced some stocks and kept it ready, which we are expecting to be dispatched in the next couple of weeks or so.
Okay. But basically, it's the usual, I mean, not so unusual thing, not a significant one. I mean, it's manageable.
Yeah, it's manageable. If you look at it on an annualized basis, end of the day, we are expecting hopefully this to get resolved in due course. Yeah.
Thank you. Nitish, we would request you to please come back in the queue as we have several participants waiting for their turn. Also, we would request the participants to please limit your questions to 2 per participant. The next question is from the line of Parth Agrawal from Sunatha Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hi. I just have a question on what is the total current capacity that we have right now in India and Vietnam?
In India, we have a combined capacity of around 25,000 tons, and in Vietnam, we have a 10,000 ton capacity.
Okay. And in terms of expansion plans, so in Vietnam, we are going to add another around 5,000 tons, if I'm not wrong.
3,500.
3,500. And what is the timeline for this 3,500?
We were originally supposed to do it in Q1 of this year, but due to the COVID impact and because all the supplies have gotten delayed, especially because there's a lot of equipment going from India, we are looking at sometime around Q3 that the new capacity is going to come in.
And what is the new capacity that is going to come in India?
In India, there's no new capacity coming in right now. By next year, we are looking at increasing agglomeration and packing capacity.
Okay. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mr. Kwakaria from Lucky Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Sir, this gross margins, which are at the highest level that we have seen in your operating history, you said that it's because of a favorable product mix. Is this a trend which will continue, or is this something which comes and goes every quarter?
Currently, with our manufacturing capacity, that is having the new freeze drying capacity into operations, this is sustainable.
So 60% gross margin is sustainable going forward from here on?
Pardon me?
We have done 60% gross margin in the quarter.
It is because in the new plant where we have utilized almost 50% capacity utilization during this year, because of the new technology or new processes, we are able to get better yields, and because of that, we are able to get better margins on this. In fact, that is how we said we are trying to implement similar processes in our old plant also. As and when that is completed, then the margin profile would be more or less sustainable.
Okay, got it. Thank you, sir. Thank you for answering the question.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashok Shah from LFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my question. Sir, we had launched South Blend as a local brand, I think 1 or 2 years back. So how is distribution set up, and is it gone all over the India? We are distributing currently to the shops, or what's the situation and what's the market share we have got? What's the sale we have reach in this our branded products?
Hi, this is Praveen this side. So to answer your question, for the domestic business we did around 90 crores this year, out of which the branded business was approximately 60% of that. So that is what we did as branded business. The branded business grew by almost 40% this year. So that was a pretty good run for the branded business. The variant that you're talking about, South Indian Blend, is one of the instant coffee blends that we had launched specifically for South Indian market, catering to the taste profile that the South Indians like. So that was launched here. Currently, in terms of distribution, we are more focused. When I say distribution, I am taking into account retail distribution, which is general trade and modern trade. We are focused more into South India because that's where the chunk of coffee market lies. So that is there. Once we attain a significant share here, then we will, slowly and steadily expand into other markets. As far as your question on shares is concerned, we are approximately now at an overall level. Nielsen is picking us up at 2% market share, but you would agree that being a small player, the extrapolation becomes weaker for smaller players, considering that after all it's a extrapolation exercise. But what we feel that depending on our internal sales, we are closer to 4 to 5% market share as we speak.
So are we confident to grow at such a high rate of 40% over the next few years? And what's the distant plan we have to capture the market share?
Yes. So for the domestic market, it's a combination of a lot of factors. One, as you had pointed yourself, we created this blend called South Indian Blend. So similarly, we are operating, into different segments with different blends. So coffee blending, which is our core strength that CCL has, that is one of the things we are playing up in the market, and therefore we are making our coffee much distinctive to the competition. This we are accentuating through a lot of BTL, wet sampling exercise. We almost do 1 lakh cup of wet sampling every month to make sure that a lot of consumers do experience our product, and that is leading to a lot of conversion and share gain for us. At the same time, we are also doing above the line activities. We are advertising. We have got a South celebrity on board, which is Nitya Menon, who is advertising for our products to create awareness amongst masses. So, a combination of all these factors is helping us grow at a very strong pace, and we hope that this will continue in the future as well.
How is margin in the local new brand and export market? Is comparable or same?
So, any branded business will definitely have better margins. So, that is for sure. However, considering that we are spending a lot of money to gain market share right now, finding a foothold in the market, we are, we do offer a lot of schemes in the market, consumer offers in the market, and things like that. So therefore, right now the margins are stretched, but in the long run, definitely branded business margins will be better than the bulk business.
Thank you. Thanks, boss.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Manoj Kori from Equirus Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, sir. Hope entire CCL team is doing good. And a couple of questions. One thing, we indicated there were few delays in dispatches from fourth quarter. So would it be able to compensate for any impact during April month, and June quarter should be a very normal quarter for us?
Obviously, June should be a normal quarter because of the carried forward stocks that we had. But obviously, during the month of April, we could not run the production units. Even during a part of May also, we were allowed to operate only at 33% capacity. So there might be certain impact in the first quarter, but because of this carried forward stock, so it should be a normal quarter. Normally, over the year, on an annualized basis, we are hoping that we will be able to recover the lost production capacity.
Right, sir. And what would be the situation in Vietnam today? Was there any disruption because of COVID?
No, Vietnam, there was no major disruption. Only towards the end of the year, around March, there was some difficulty, but it soon got repaired. In fact, Vietnam, during the first quarter, we are not experiencing any major disruptions.
Okay. And sir, coming on to the order book, so normally you get a better visibility on maybe around December or January, how the upcoming year is going to pan out. So I agree that there is a lot of uncertainty, but do you have enough visibility in terms of whether this would be eventually we would be making it up in the subsequent quarters?
Market reactions, as of now, we are not very certain. Things are coming back to normalcy. I would not say that the things are back to normalcy now. But coffee being a product which, a consumer product which may not come down on a demand basis, we are hopeful that we should sufficiently augment and keep our manufacturing capacity so that we should be able to make it a normalized year.
Right. So one last question. So if you look at the Indian domestic business, especially for the branded business, so like since last 3-4 years, we have been targeting and we have been aspiring big on this business. So I think even internally we won't be satisfied with the performance. So where are we lacking to scale this business significantly, given that we are at a lower base?
No, actually, I think I should correct that. We are extremely happy with the performance of the domestic business. It is completely in line with what we had expected, to be very frank. And we still believe that there is a good potential for growth. And this is the initial stages where we are still placing our product. Product acceptance has been exceptionally good. Now product availability also has increased quite a bit. In fact, the domestic team keeps complaining to me that we're not able to deliver enough stocks in time. So those are the type of issues that we are currently facing. And I don't think there's any other brand that I've seen that has actually grown at the kind of pace that we are growing over here in the domestic market right now. So we are quite happy with the progress, and we're quite happy that we're able to sustain this growth. That is the most important thing.
Right. No, I do agree that the growth rates are very healthy, but I think we definitely the potential is much bigger. So that's why that was the reason that I was saying, like, if there are any drawbacks there, nothing else.
No, the potential is definitely there, but one thing you should also keep in mind is we are not focusing only on the same products that our competitors are selling. We are getting into new areas, unique products. So we are in the process of creating a new market from scratch. So it is a long drawn-out process. We'll end up starting small, but looking at what we have done in other countries, we are quite confident we can do the same thing in India as well. Create a completely different coffee culture over here with convenience.
Thank you. Manoj, we would request you to please come back in the queue as we have several participants waiting for their turn. We would request the participants to please limit your questions to 2 per participant. The next question is from the line of Rishabh Sisodia from Concept Investment. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you can go ahead, please.
Yeah. Hello, sir. Good, congratulations on good set of numbers. I had one question. I remember the management saying that there is a bit lumpiness in the bulk orders compared to the brand buyers who buy from us. So if you could provide a split between in the volumes we sell to bulk buyers and the brand buyers.
Around 60% is coming from the branded business and 40% is from private label and bulk business.
40-60 split.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Yes. And any update on the cash conversion cycle for the whole year and not just the quarter?
On the
No.
cash conversion. Only for the domestic market you're asking?
Yes, for the overall company, the cash conversion cycle for FY19 versus FY20.
Compared to FY9, on a comparison, the cash conversion was better. But as you know, we are now contracting with major brands all over the world whose normal credit terms are a little longer. But since we have our working capital facilities and our interest rates are very minimal. We are able to extend these credits and increase our product distribution, particularly among the major brands. But as of now, we still consider that the cash conversion cycle is satisfactory and manageable for us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Tanvi Shetty from Axis Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Thanks for taking my question, sir. Wanted to know your CapEx which you planned out for FY21, the amount.
It was for the packing plant, which anyway might be completed by the end of this year. It would be in the range of about 120 crores in India. And the capex in Vietnam would be about 8 million there. The earlier estimates that we have given hold good.
Okay. Sir, and also wanted to know the volume growth for FY20 as a whole.
Normally, this is one particular aspect. The volume growth or volume numbers that we do not wish to share because of the business strategy.
Okay. All right, sir. Also, sir, wanted to have an idea on the margin expansion. Would there be further margin expansion in FY21? I mean, wanted to know the mix between freeze-dried and the regular coffee. Would the freeze-dried orders be growing in FY21?
No, currently we are expecting that additional capacity utilization between spray-dried and freeze-dried in the current year would be almost on the equal footing. So I may not say that there will not be an increase in the margin profile. We should be able to sustain the margin profile.
Okay. That's all from my side, sir. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhiral Shah from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. And congratulations for the good set of numbers. So what was the capacity utilization in India and in Vietnam for FY20?
It was normally 80 to 85% utilization is considered to be an optimum utilization in instant coffee industry. In India, we are almost close to that, barring SEZ plant where we have done only 50% utilization being the first year. In Vietnam, we did about 65 to 70% utilization during the current year.
Okay. And so last quarter you have guided that there has been some pressure in freeze-dried pricing. So are that pressure is normalizing or you feel this pressure to remain continuous?
Right now, at this point of time, we are not very clear about major changes. Right now, we are anticipating that the prices will remain in the current levels.
Okay.
It also depends on the quality of the product, and we are always seen as a premium product supplier. So, brands will depend on this source, major brands. So, normally there will not be any changes on a quarter-to-quarter basis on this.
Okay. And so lastly, what would be the spending for domestic business in FY21 for the retail coffee?
See, this year we are expecting that normally in the normal course, normal circumstances prevailing, we thought the local branding will break even and may add some. But of late we have seen our thirst has been on the retail sales and brand, where the overheads and market expenses would be slightly higher. So it may be safe for the current situation that we will continue to support as we have supported during the last year as well.
It would be around 30 crore. Last year, how much we have spent, sir?
No. From the parent company, we have supported to the extent of about 11 to 12 crores.
So this would continue in current year, right?
We are anticipating.
Okay. And so what was the overall Switzerland operation revenue and PAT for the year?
Revenue and PAT. Not PAT, it is revenue and PAT.
Revenue it is 135 crores and the profit it is around 3.73 crores.
And for Vietnam, sir? And for Vietnam?
Vietnam 268 crores is the revenue and the profit is 56 crores.
56 crores. Okay. Thank you, sir. That's it from my side. All the best.
The next question is from the line of Ashwini Agarwal from Ashmore Investment Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Congratulations for a reasonable set of numbers in a very difficult environment. A couple of questions. Earlier in answer to another question, you mentioned that 60% of your product goes to brand owners. Is that globally or were you just talking about the India sales?
Only India sales.
What's the split globally between brand owners and bulks and repackers?
That's actually a very difficult question to answer, but at least about almost about 50% of whatever we are currently producing is going directly to the brand owners, and balance will be going for repackers and resellers.
50%?
Yeah.
And within the brand owners, are these all large packs or this is all like consumer packs?
No, it depends. For some brands, we are doing consumer packs, but for most of them, we are supplying in bulk to them. They have their own packing facilities at their end. They outsource the production to us, and they do the packing at their end.
Are you seeing any change in that direction? People saying that, give us the packed product, and, therefore your ability to add value goes up, or?
Yes, we are. That is one of the reasons why we are going in for this expansion into small packs in India. And the response that we've been getting in the market has been quite good, which is why we thought in order to pitch for that business, several of our existing customers, they've given us the specifications as to what the new packing facility should be like with the automation and several other things. So that's the reason why we're making this 120 crore investment on this new facility. That will help us get more small packs going forward.
And there is still a value proposition, notwithstanding that even if you're doing consumer packs and glass bottles, etc., the freight component would increase significantly on a per unit basis. But net of freight, there is still a value proposition to pack it in India.
It will be there, yeah.
Okay. And coming to the domestic business, is the branded coffee domestic business only 1,000 crores or thereabouts?
Well, as of now, I think 1,800 crore is the...
approximately 2,000 crores is the branded coffee business.
That's what I thought. So I was a little surprised when you said that your share is 4 to 5%, because at 50 or 55 crores, it would be more like 2%, right?
Yeah. So we are the reason 4-5% I was only mentioning for south of India, because that's where we are there. We are not there in the other regions. So this was so south of India is almost 60% of the market, instant coffee market. So that's how the calculation was done.
Okay. And last question, is there a room for you to tie up with some brand owners overseas and, if they are keen to look at the Indian market, or Indian market is too consolidated for anybody to be interested here?
We did get a couple of inquiries in the past where some of our current large customers, they've done a feasibility study and all. For them, this market is extremely unattractive because for them, these guys are major players and 2,000 crores is virtually nothing for them. India is still predominantly a tea consuming country and coffee is still in the initial stages of growing. For us, because our size is quite small right now, this 2,000 crores, we still have a long way to go. For the other companies, like if you go to the US market, it'll be like it's $1 billion market. It's in billions in several other countries. Over here, it's significantly lesser. And most of the other countries, you have a wider range of brands which are present because the market size is bigger. Over here, you have only two major brands that are there, and now we are the third brand that is there. And a lot of other small regional players are there in the market as of now. So they don't find it very attractive considering these things.
Okay. All right. Great. All right.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kuldeep Kangwal from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, one question regarding the dividend from the subsidiary. Like you received close to 131 CR this year against the profit of 56 CR. So it was some accumulated cash over there, or what to expect in the coming years over there?
See, but during, right from 2012-13 onwards, as long as the debt was outstanding, we did not transfer any dividends because we committed to clear the debt first before transferring the money. So, first 5-6 years we did not transfer money, and so it was accumulated there. So last year on a smaller scale we have started, and this year we could transfer what is found to be surplus there and required for passing on the dividend. So it is out of accumulated profits that we have transferred.
So next year onward, the fair expectation should be if the dividends close to in line with the profits over there. Is it right?
It may not be, because up to current year, whatever tax that we were paying on a dividend from foreign company, we were getting an input credit here. Okay. So when I pass on the same to the shareholders, I get an input credit. From this year onwards, it's not there.
Okay.
So right now we are doing an expansion there, for which we are utilizing these internal accruals for the current year, internal accruals also, and we will decide on whether to pass on from there or we from the local sources itself we meet the dividend. We shall endeavor to maintain the dividend policy as we declared.
Okay. And last bit, like earlier you used to provide, say, revenue, EBITDA, PAT guidance. So will you be providing the same for FY21 or will wait for that?
Which are
revenue, EBITDA, PAT.
Generally, I mean, it is slightly dicey right now, but we are confident that we should be able to achieve still, leaving out this 1 month or 1.5 months shutdown of the plant also, we should be able to achieve an improvement to the extent of 10-15% this year as well.
On profit you're about, or?
Top line let us not talk about, because it is mostly on the green coffee prices and all that. EBITDA levels, let us say it will be, we are still confident that we will be able to achieve about 10-15% growth this year as well.
Okay. And Vietnam, you were getting the tax benefit, if I remember correctly. So, is it going to be there in FY21 as well, or it's no more there?
It is continuing.
Any time frame for the same, like, so, or it's a one-on-one?
Right now there is no time frame. It is for life.
Okay, it's continuing. Okay, sure. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Lokesh Manik from Vallum Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. My question was if on the revenue side, if you can just give a breakup or an idea in terms of revenue split between freeze-dried, agglomerated and spray-dried. Hello.
We we are a single product company, so giving a detailed breakup of our revenue profile is detrimental to our business interest. So I would suggest you please do not insist on this.
No problem. So just an idea on value add and non-value add split.
Obviously, this year freeze-dried has increased, no? So the product mix is towards majority of the, shifted to freeze-dried, so on a better scale.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jignesh Kamani from GMO. Please go ahead.
Hi, Srishant. Hi, Mr. Sharma.
Hello.
Just the export incentive side, from January, export incentive has reduced from 7% to 5%, right? So there will be 3 to 4 crore negative impact on the profitability from this quarter, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So what was the export incentive we booked this quarter?
It is 7 crores.
Okay. And any clarity now what will be the, you can say, for next year, because there was some, you can say, discussion going on with the government, whether it will be phased out completely or it will be reduced to 5% only. And so any color on that now?
It will be 5% for the current year as well. It is the foreign trade policy is continuing, and since it has been reduced from last quarter from 7 to 5%, this 5% will continue for this year.
Understood. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jason Swan from Monarch Network Capital. Please go ahead.
Sir, thanks for taking my question. Most of my questions have been answered. But sir, just about the revenue base, I just wanted to know, so what percentage of your revenue comes from your own in-house brand, just Continental Special, Continental Extra and stuff?
Approximately around 55 crores out of the entire 90 crores.
Okay, 90 crore comes from your in-house brand.
No. 55 crores comes from the in-house brands.
Okay, 55 crores comes from your in-house brands. And what is the rest of the split between the private labels and what you supply to other brands?
So it is, the rest of it is between private label, bulk, that is it. That will be 50-50 between them, almost. Yeah.
50-50 between private labels and bulk.
Correct.
Okay. And that is your own brands constitute 55 crores. Okay. And sir, just one thing, just wanted to know that, coffee being a consumable product and, I don't see much demand impact on that. So just wanted to know from a broader point of view and, probably a post-COVID thing, how do you think demand will pan out, over, say, 3 to 6 months from now? Just would want to know your view on that.
Okay, so as you rightly pointed out, on the in-home consumption demand side, there is no issue. In fact, we are seeing a little bit of increase in that portfolio. However, coffee, there is another segment which is a large part of it also gets consumed at institution, out of home that we call, which is at airlines, hotels, offices, cafes. So in these segments, the coffee consumption is likely to go down. How much it will go down, it's very difficult to assess right now because we really don't know how fast things will get back to normal. But we do see an impact in the next 3 to 6 months.
Okay, sure. And sir, just wanted to reconfirm your capacity in India is around 25,000 tons and in Vietnam is around 10,000 tons.
Yes, that's correct.
And just one last thing. Your dispatches, you would obviously know the estimation for a normal season. So currently, you saw April, May must have been poor. But what percentage of normal would have been dispatches in, say, April, May and gradually improving till today as in when the lockdown has been lifted?
So April, we were actually dispatching whatever stock that we had built up in March. Mm-hmm. And from May onwards, slowly things have started to come back to normal, and now the dispatches are taking place more regularly.
Okay, thank you. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anuj Sharma from Entry Investment. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Hi. Thank you for this opportunity. My first question is, a lot of consumers who would have gone to their retail outlet would not have found their preferred brand and hence chosen our brands. What do you think will, any boost to our acceptance in this current disruption?
Yes, we did see some kind of brand replacement happening at certain outlets. This disruption has happened for everybody. So there were outlets where our brand was not there, and there were outlets where competition was not there. So as of now, while we have seen a spike in sales in the retail, really how much it will sustain for the long term is something that we have to see. But we are experiencing better throughput in some of these outlets. That's for sure.
Okay. My second question is on your online sales. Now, a large part of online sales is heavily discounted, or let's suppose under promotional schemes. Under what threshold do you think you will wean off these discounts and bring it to normal pricing? And just related to that, what percentage of our domestic brands is online?
So let's say if we were doing so approximately 6 to 7% of our sales are online sales. Yeah? Okay. And as you rightly said that a lot of discounts are there on online sales. But come to think of it, we do save a lot on channel margins, etc. So our profitability actually does not get impacted even after a lot of discounts online. Having said so, in the long run, it will depend on how fast our brand equity soars up. Once that starts going up, we will start reducing the offers. So already in some of the packs, we have started reducing the offers, and this is a gradual and a continuous progression. As and when the brands are getting strengthened, we will reduce the discounts.
All right. And if I may squeeze in a small one, like the way you positioned yourself well in South India, do you think in the rest of the country, you can play a strategy wherein, let's suppose, a freeze-dried coffee, which is at a significant premium, you can play a pricing game and maybe have the cost of freeze-dried would not be significantly higher. It is, but so on the selling price, maybe reduce it and have a large market share in the rest of the country. Any thoughts on such or similar products strategy?
Yeah, I think you have read our minds well. So that's something we will definitely like to explore. However, currently we were just trying to find our feet in the southern markets, which are the larger markets. But definitely a strategy like this can be on the cards.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Binoy Jariwala from Sunidhi Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. My question is on the branded business. If you could just help me understand what is the total distribution universe in terms of outlets for the instant coffee, and what is our reach per se?
So I'll tell you a little bit on these figures. These are mostly, pre-COVID figures because things have gone a little awry in these couple of months. So before that, we were actually directly ourselves reaching to around 55 to 60,000 outlets. Yeah. So that is where our direct reach was, and we intend to keep building upon this number year on year. So this year we are taking almost a target to reach around 75 to 80,000 outlets directly.
Okay. The distribution universe for this?
So the distribution universe will be around. See, most of the largest brands will have a direct reach of around 6 lakhs outlets, and distribution reach would be around 8 to 9 lakhs outlets in southern India. Because this 65,000 that we are covering is in the southern India only. So that is the like-to-like figure I'm quoting.
8 to 9 lakhs in southern India.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you said that your the branded sales is about 55 crores this year, what was the comparable number last year?
It was around 32 crores last year.
Okay. And what was the total business number last year?
Last year was 61 crores, like-to-like numbers.
So basically 61 has grown to about 90 crores, is that?
Yeah.
Okay. And what would the market share be for the top two players, let us say Nestle and HUL?
So very simplistically put, these are they are 50-50 on top. That's the simplistic way you can just take it. Because there is no significant third player or fourth player. So these two almost kind of share the market equally between them.
Okay. And when you said you have Nielsen puts your market share at 2%, that is a pan-India number, right? Not only for
That's a South India number.
That's a South India number.
Right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kashyap Zaveri from MK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Hello. Congratulations, sir, on great set of numbers. I have two questions. First one on your EBITDA as well as gross margins. There is inventory carry forward or change in stock of about 50 crores on consolidated number. Would have it also contributed, or how much would have it contributed to your overall EBITDA margins? Because this would include some of your other costs also as a cost of inventory. That's the first question. And second question is, I just wanted to reconfirm. Did you mention during the con call that your overall market share in instant coffee market is about 4%? Is that something that you mentioned? Hello.
The line for the management dropped. We would request you to please stay connected while we join them back. Also, you can go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'll just repeat the whole question again. The first part of question was that in terms of your EBITDA margins and gross margins, there is about 30 crores change in stock, in during this quarter on consolidated basis. So, how much could have that contributed in terms of gross margins and EBITDA margins? Because this would include, some of the other costs on where we have seen significant spike up on quarter-on-quarter basis, both employee and manufacturing costs. So how much could have that contributed to the EBITDA and gross margin? Second part of the question was more a clarification. Did we mention during the call that our market share in the overall instant coffee market is roughly about 4%? Is that something that we mentioned?
Yeah. Overall coffee market for South India is around 4%.
Okay. And on terms of gross margin?
Yeah. See,
and EBITDA both.
The stock built up was in the range of about 32-33 crores. So if you take broadly an EBITDA margin of about 25% as it is there right now, this is the cost price, no? Stock valued at cost. So we would have lost about approximately plus or minus 40 crores of turnover. So if you apply the same EBITDA margin for that, perhaps we would have lost about 7 to 10 crores EBITDA margin during this period.
So I was trying to understand, this is about 30 crores change in stock. So this would also, besides the raw materials, this would also include our other costs also, right? I mean, as a total cost of production, yes. This 30 crores would include that number also, right?
Correct.
So I'm trying to understand, then it would have some positive bearing on the gross margins also, right?
It would have had this been
dispatched. So I'm just trying to understand gross margin, what would have been.
Otherwise, normally it is taken into books at cost price, no?
Mm-hmm.
This would have, if you have taken our profit margin, PBT level, if you take it about 15-16%, then this would have been about 36 to 37 crores of turnover. And then on 36-37 crores turnover, the EBITDA margin of, I think last quarter's EBITDA margin was about 23-24%. That would have got converted into about 7 to 8 crores of EBITDA that would come into the subsequent quarter.
My question is little different, sir. Maybe I'll get in touch with Ms. Dasari and get the clarification actually. I'll write it to you and probably then I can...
No, you can come. If you want, you can ask further, but I can explain. See this.
I'll just try to rephrase the question again. This 29 crores change of stock in trade would include the raw material cost and it would also include the other costs which are part of cost of production, right?
That's correct.
I am just trying to understand what is that other cost of production included in this 29 crores.
Normally, going by the accounting standards, whatever is ex-factory cost, it will get included in that. The processing cost, the power and fuel, this labor got into it, all that will be there, no?
Okay. Can you quantify that number?
Pardon me?
Can you quantify the number? Is that possible?
No. Among 32, what is all this you wanted to know?
Yeah, breakup of that 30 crores of change of stock in trade.
No, that will go into a total accounting. No, I cannot separate.
Okay, sir. Yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vaibhav Kokate from Ashmore Investment Management. Please go ahead.
Did we book any export incentives in this quarter?
7 crores.
And do we expect these incentives to continue the next year?
Yeah, current indication is they are extended by 1 year, no? So the 1 year extension we will get at the rate of 5% from the last extension time.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Akhil Parekh from Elara Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity and many congratulations on good set of numbers. Just couple of questions. One is on the raw material front. How do we see the trend now going forward, and how was it in Q4 FY20?
Raw material wise, what we are seeing in the markets is that the prices have been coming down, but the differentials have been increasing. So the net impact is more or less the same cost of materials as it was last year. We're not seeing a very significant change. As you know that minute by minute the prices keep changing.
Correct.
On an average basis, there's not too much of a variation from the previous year.
Got it. And just on the US front, any update on that? Because last couple of quarters back we had mentioned we are expecting around 2,000 to 2,500 of volumes. Any update on that? How much we did in FY20 and any change to that guidance for FY21?
Yes, actually we were targeting one major retailer in the US towards the beginning of this calendar year. And we were actually expecting the orders by maybe January or February, but it started materializing towards the end of March for us.
Okay.
From the first quarter of this financial year, we've started executing those orders for the retailer, so that volume business is going to come in this year. And
so tonnage wise, how much it would be, any rough sense, like maybe, or how much incremental it would be compared to what?
Yes, like you said, we're talking about it. I mean, this customer, they've already placed an order with us for a good volume, and it's for the whole year. So we have to keep supplying on a quarterly basis and all that. Okay. And this is again a long-term relationship that we have built up with this customer. It took us almost 3 to 4 years to take all the necessary approvals, to convince them that they need to de-risk from their current supplier based in Brazil, And with all the volatility that they have seen in the past with their existing suppliers, finally they got convinced and they completed all the audit of the plant and everything, and we managed to get them on board. So this entire year will be one of the reasons why we were confident about our volumes growing and all also is because of this US business. This is what we've been waiting for several years, and fortunately it has materialized now.
Okay, but like quantum wise, would you be able to highlight anything? Like we did around 2,500, right, in US for last year, FY20.
This will almost double.
Okay, so from 2,000 you're saying it might go to 4,000 tons.
Closer to 5 maybe, 4,500 to 5.
Okay, that's very heartening. And this will be from Indian plants or Vietnam plants?
It's actually for the US, we are supplying from both plants. It's not exclusively any one plant. We have different sets of customers. Some want from Vietnam, some want from India. They're very specific about what products that they want.
Got it. This would be largely a bulk coffee, right? Not the small packs.
Largely bulk, but we've also, for the first time, we've actually managed to crack the small pack market in the US as well. So our first supplies are starting, I think, from next month onwards. So that is our first entry into the small pack business into the US now.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vidit Shah from IIFL Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi, thank you for taking my questions. Well, most of them have been answered. I just have a couple. Wanted to understand the debt repayment plans of the company in the near future.
We have almost around 296 crores is the debt, and the repayments are commenced already. By 23-24, it is going to be paid in full.
Okay.
And on an average, every year it is around 76 crores is the repayment.
Fine. Thank you so much. And so you said operations in India were impacted in the month of May. So has June been back to optimal capacity utilization?
Yeah,
June. At around 80-85%?
Yeah, June it is almost back to normalcy. But we are still seeing some cases being reported closer to the factory and all that. Currently we are operating at optimum, but as you know, every day there can be a variant on this. So right now we are back to normalcy in June. May also it was partially impacted. June it is okay.
All right, fine. Thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anuj Jain from ValueQuest Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi. Sorry, I actually joined the call a little late, so I missed the initial comments. I wanted to understand what is the outlook for export business going forward, considering the current pandemic which is going on?
We are hoping that we will be able to achieve a normal operations with a growth perspective of about 10 to 15% this year.
Understood. And any update on any other client addition or losing out on any client, as Srishant just mentioned regarding the US retailer which we have won? Any other update regarding the client from the client side?
No, there was no losing of clients during the last year. The client that was added was also towards the end of the last year. And we are not anticipating any loss of customers in the near future.
Okay. And up to what extent the Vietnam operations were impacted in Q1?
Q1 there was no impact. Vietnam is running normally in Q1. There was a small impact towards during March last year, but it was for a very few days. I think about 10-15 days. Q1 it is okay.
And what's the status of the capex which was going on in Vietnam?
Yeah, you see, we are spending that 8 million to augment the production capacity there. There was a delay because the shipments, etc. are getting delayed. The equipment reaching out to Vietnam is getting delayed. So the project might get delayed by 2-3 months.
Understood. And you also mentioned that the total domestic business which we did for FY20 is around 90 CR, right?
Right.
And out of this, 55 CR is the branded Continental coffee sales.
Correct.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the time and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of from Binoy Jariwala from Sunidhi Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you for allowing the follow-up. During this call, you made a remark that you would first focus on this is regarding the branded business. So you made a remark that you would first focus on South India, build up a certain level of market share, and then move towards expanding to the rest of India. What is that threshold of market share you have in your mind to attain before which you start moving on to the rest of India?
So basically, we are looking to first at a sustainable level get a 5% market share. So once that starts coming in, then we can expand to other markets because, the rest of India market is much more expensive in terms of, resource requirement for either awareness creation or distribution build-up. So therefore, we want to be very sure that our operations are, well established in South before we move to the other zones.
So which means you're not very far away, right? You're already at 4%. You're just talking of 5%.
Absolutely. So we are actually, as we speak, we are trying to build a skeletal level of resources so that for the key cities and in those key cities, key outlets can be covered in the near future. So we are already kind of building the base and creating that infrastructure. So as you rightly said, as soon as we are a little more strengthened in South India, we'll quickly move to these cities.
So on a steady state basis, if you have to attain this 5-6% kind of and keep on clocking that market share sustainably, what is the distribution reach that you would have to meet?
So the distribution reach that we are looking at, I don't know whether you were able to hear my earlier comments where we said that we are around at 60,000-65,000 direct reach as of today. Once you are able to reach that 1 lakh outlet threshold directly and probably add another 50,000-60,000 outlets through indirect distribution, then your weighted distribution probably will cross a limit of around 40-50%. That should be decent enough for us to say that things are established in the southern markets.
Understood. And at that level, will you be also profitable?
Yeah, we should be. We should be at that level.
Okay. This particular category, according to you, let's say when you reach about 200 crore odd of sales, what kind of EBITDA margin can this category generate?
Right now, very early to comment on both the numbers, 200 crore as well as EBITDA. We are just taking it up step by step. This year looks to be an exceptional year considering that the cost of acquisition of any new consumer as well as cost of acquiring a new outlet will be pretty different considering the new normal that is getting established. So we'll wait for a while to, before we kind of predict what kind of EBITDA margins we'll end up at around 200 crores.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kuldeep Gangwar from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
This regarding food incentive part. So full year, what was the overall number? You mentioned 7 crore for the quarter. What was the full year?
34 crores.
So is it fair to assume because the export incentive will come down from 7% to 5%, there will be say 13-14 crore negative impact on operating profit in FY21?
It's only 2% difference, no?
Yeah. So 13 to 15 crore, that's the reason I mentioned. Like you had 285 crore overall operating profit this year. If it moves 7 to 5%, then what is the absolute number it could have been?
Our turnover also is, and exports are also likely to increase, so we are not anticipating a great decrease in the absolute amount as well.
Okay. And full year export were how much this year? About 20?
Full year?
Export.
Full year export.
Barring that 90 crores of domestic, everything.
Okay. Got it. Thanks.
Thank you. That was the last question. I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you all for taking part in this conference. Looking forward to talking to you again next quarter.